gentlemen, how are you all doing this fine evening? You may notice there's someone else that's not quite in his box. What's going on there? Mr. Ryan Betson's with me tonight. How you doing, Ryan?
Hey, I'm very well. How are you all?
Mate, I'm going to speak to everyone and say I'm bloody brilliant, mate. I'm brilliant. It is Sunday night. Weekend's coming to a close. But how's your weekend been? What have you been up to?
My weekend has been mostly trash. My PS5, my beloved brand new PS5, it's overheating and it's unplayable. So I've just reboxed it up and it's ready to go back and.
I'm so sorry. So for all those ladies and gentlemen who didn't hear it, because I still had the music playing before, this is Ryan Betson down below. He is on a channel called the CULTURITS. He does Twitch. He does YouTube. He is a avid PlayStation affiliate, lover, enthusiast. Show us a tattoo. Show us a tattoo. Ryan Betson. Yeah, there you go. He shows us the tattoo. He's gone so far to get that tattoo to his arm just before they change all the colors of it. And he got a PS5 and it is now overheating and he has to go return it. So that's a lot of fun. I'm sorry to hear, mate.
And they are so like unavailable. I have no idea when I will be able to get a replacement.
Mate, I hope you can get one very soon. We've got a few people in the house. I just say quick hello to Ben Jacker in the house, Steve Getter, how you doing? Aisha up at like 1:30 in the AM, how you doing? Dale Smith, how are we guys? How was everyone's weekend? Let us know what is new with you guys. Dale Smith is asking, is that a common PS5 thing, Betson?
It doesn't appear so. So the issue that I'm having is, so I originally left it in rest mode, so sort of standby mode, and then I came back to it after a day at work, put it on for about 5-10 minutes, and it's like, hey man, this PS5 is way too hot. You should probably turn it off right now. So I do that, and then I left it overnight for like 8 hours, panels off, unplugged, no power going to it at all. Booted up on yesterday morning, went for about 45 minutes before I shit the bed again. So.
That sucks.
Yeah. Steve Getter, you wanted a PS5, but you're gonna have to wait, dude. There aren't any available, so it's kind of not up to you.
Well, welcome, Phil Brown in the house. How you doing? And Steve Getter says, "Good man. I've just made my first ever video on YouTube about my weight loss journey, as I haven't been getting anywhere, and I need to be accountable for it. Good on you, Steve." Good on you, Steve. I'm going to go over to your channel right now, and I'm going to subscribe to you. And in fact, I implore anyone who's watching this stream, after you visit the Pop Culturist, the links are in the description. Check out Steve Getter's account and subscribe to him. Follow his journey. Keep him accountable. Make him lose all this weight. Yeah, look, Ryan, you made your PlayStation 5 a pretty purpley, kind of very good-looking color, didn't you?
I did, yeah. So I had it for about half an hour. I recorded an unboxing video. I edited the video, put it up. And then a friend of mine, Ethan, who modifies consoles, he reached out to me because he modified my PS4 to have Kratos's axe from the latest God of War game hanging on top of it. So he's like, hey, do you want to fuck with your console? I'm like, yeah. So I ran over to his place and we repainted it purple. Went a lot simpler this time, where my friend and the co-host of my PlayStation show, his is a bit more detailed. So he's a big Demon Souls, Soulsborne fan, so the Dark Souls games. And with the new one coming out for the PS5, he's like, can we make it look like chinked up armor? Like, yep. So we spray painted it metal and we got all like cut. We literally went at it with a knife and it looks fantastic.
Is it like hard to bring yourself to kind of customize something you've just spent like hundreds and hundreds of dollars on, like before?
750 in fact. A little bit, but like because I know I wasn't like fucking with the internals, I wasn't really too mad. Like the fact that it was super easy to just take the side panels off and work on them is probably why I was more okay to doing it. So with the other console I did, actually for fun fact, I'll send you, I'll find the video. Yeah, so with that one, like there were very clear we cut a giant hole in the top of the console sort of thing.
Well, mate, look, I'm sorry to hear about the PlayStation 5 and all that.
But yeah, so this one is a little bit different because it was just we went more a bit simpler sort of idea. All right, so I'm just going to chuck this in your chat. So if anyone Pro looks like, there you go.
Sorry, ladies. Like
around.
You've jumped. I think. Oh, you're looking clear now. I think you're.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it keeps changing resolution.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been having issues with Skype trying to get it to like it keeps changing. The joys of like live streaming.
Ben Jack asked, would that void the warranty? The cutting a giant hole in the top of it? Yes, because I had to literally pull it apart to make it happen. Where this one for the PS5, when I was just repainting it, no. Because the side panels are designed to come off easily, and I never actually unscrewed anything. I never even touched any of the internals.
That's the first question I had. I'm like, don't they have like those like void stickers on them, something?
Yeah,
like
well, I never because underneath that void sticker is that warranty sticker is a screw, and the only way to get inside it is to remove said sticker. So, but because what I've done hasn't touched it, it's still all good.
Not a fan of this green. I'm gonna go back to trusty old blue. But yeah. Otherwise, look. I mean, while we're talking about games, we won't talk about games the entire night. But while we're talking about games, I actually downloaded today Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
1 and 2, isn't it good?
Yeah. Have you played it?
Yeah, man. We reviewed it at launch. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Mate, it's about time because I was like, when I first saw the preview for it, I was like, oh, I can't wait to get this game because I played Tony Hawk 1 and 2 on the N64 for days, and I got on there and I was just like, I was amazed on how much like everything translated. Like even though I played it on N64, to play it on the Xbox, it just like everything was so second nature, and it's just like I picked it up like years ago. And here I am doing like, all these crazy ass tricks. I like, as soon as I got the special bar up, 900, bam, just smashed it out. And I was like, yeah. The soundtrack is epic, Dale. 100%.
The soundtrack is absolutely fantastic. Now, granted, it's not the full soundtrack, but it's pretty much most of it, plus new additions as well, which is even better again. Because like one of the things that I talked about in our review was Tony Hawk is pretty important in my youth for like exposing me to a bunch of new bands I'd never heard of before. So it's very cool that there's going to be a situation where there's a number of people that will be either hearing these bands for the first time, or it's going to allow for exposure of new bands, because there are essentially new artists on the soundtrack as well. Sort of like, so myself, I'm like, I'm at a point where I don't listen to new music just because I'm old and I'm stuck in my ways.
Wait, there's new music?
But yeah, I wouldn't know. Yeah, so like they have a little sprinkle of new stuff. I'm like, oh, I really like that. I really enjoyed that. Who's that? I'll go check that out, sort of thing.
Yeah, because I did the ready to play. Hey, Tannins, how you doing, mate? Good seeing you. I did the ready to play as I was installing, so it was just like the one level, like it was the warehouse, and your Tony Hawk, and first song came on as Goldfinger, Superman's like, and I'm like that took me back instantly. But then there was a whole bunch of tracks. I'm like, I don't remember these being in the games, and I looked at the soundtrack list. I'm like, there's new ones. So I'm like, yeah, that's the exact same thing I thought about. I was like, they're bringing in a new era of like those kinds of songs that the next gen will be able to sort of look back and go, oh, I remember Tony Hawk when they did the remaster, and it was of the original game. But yeah.
Well, for many of them, they won't realize. For them, that'll be the first time they've ever played it. So they'll be like, oh, you remember Tony Hawk's 1 and 2? I mean, so there's a whole different side as well. And on top of that, there's like 4 or 5 new skaters in there as well, like current skaters, which is brilliant. Because that's another thing as well. Like a lot of my skate knowledge has really declined, because when I now look and I see all the skaters that I knew and followed back in the day are all old as hell now. So it's been cool to see some new guys as well, new guys and girls, I should add. Yes, I'm like, so I even to a point where I'm like, I'm going to go YouTube some of these people and see what they can do. And like, yeah, of course they're fantastic, but.
Whew. Speaking of epic tricks, how's your shoulder going?
My shoulder's good. It's still a bit sore. It's still a bit tender here and there. Like I find that it hurts a lot when I wake up. But it is certainly better. I haven't had to sling in about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Oh, good.
I do still have sort of anti-inflammatories and stuff. sort of preemptively. I can feel it starting to get a bit niggly. I'll take it in advance.
Mm.
But it seems to be all right. I'm not going to start doing weightlifting or anything just yet. I'll give it a little bit longer. I've not dared back into DDP. I don't want to like accidentally weight bear and make it worse. So,
well, do you want to fill in? Anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, what happened?
Oh fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
So about 3 weeks ago now, I guess. I went for my big walk that I do on the weekends. I made it to the end of my street where I proceeded to be attacked by a plover. And by attacked, I mean it swooped me and I tripped and I piked the ground really hard and blew apart my shoulder. So yeah, so I destroyed the whole muscle group that comes over the shoulder. There were no breaks. There was no like dislocation or anything. I just blew apart the muscle and the connective tissue sort of in here. So it's just been a slow recovery sort of thing. Dale, I wish it was a skate accident, but I skate regular, so I would have blown apart this shoulder anyway. But
it is like it's unfortunate that you injured yourself, but for all those playing at home that don't know, a plover is an Australian native bird.
They fucking suck. So what they do is they for some evolutionary dumb reason, they lay their eggs on the ground. And they are incredibly protective. And so if you get even remotely near like a city block of them, they just go to town on you. And they are persistent. So like as I tripped and spiked the ground and, was sitting there in pain, they continue to keep swooping because they're fucking idiots. And then later on when because I was walking to the supermarket, so I kept walking thinking that I just fell, wasn't that bad, but it got started to like hurt worse and worse and worse. So I had to call my wife and be like, Millie, the birds are mean to me. She came and picked me up. So we still went to the supermarket and got like all the stuff that I needed. And then came back, and then I drove around like, look, Millie, this is where it happened. Like, I'll show you where the bird swooped me. Like, it was barely the end of my street. And we turned the corner, and the bird's there in the middle of the street. And he just like looks at my car, then goes, "Hurrah!" and then just dives at the car. So like, he was intense. He was devil bird. Yeah, that bird. Those little pricks. They look really nice, but they are just like evil. There's some gnarly PTSD.
I could just imagine you just like as you're I'm just gonna leave him here for the rest of the episode. I could just imagine as you're like, running around the corner, you're getting this like, like Vietnam flashbacks, like I remember it like it was yesterday.
And I was driving home, and because where I live essentially used to be a giant open field. It's a new estate, so there's like field mice and there's just fucking birds and shit everywhere. They haven't quite the birds don't understand gentrification, so they've not left yet. So like, I was driving home and I saw like on like a median strip, like there's a fucking plover attacking some poor schoolgirl. I'm like, oh, I remember that. That sucks. But I also saw they had like a little baby with them. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking murder all of them. Like the baby, the mum, the dad, fucking hate those birds so much.
I'm putting my mortal enemy, the goose, right there. He was an absolute prick. Like, apparently we're what is it, vertically challenged. I mean, it's just like I don't know, like, I mean, I couldn't think of the word. What's the Latin word for a bird? Like, I don't know. Anyway,
fuckface.
Yeah, fuck faces. So yeah, I have a thing with geese. Geese freaking hate me and they attack me like crazy. So I haven't actually seen a magpie yet. Like I think that I should be scared. I actually have seen one magpie. So I was walking my usual route, which is, past school, lots of tall trees and that. And I'm thinking, it's been a while since I've seen a magpie. And then one landed like probably about 2 meters in front of me, right? He was on the path, like in front of me, looking right at me. And then I like kind of was like, hello. What are you doing? And then I was like, okay, I'll just keep walking towards it. Didn't even budge. Like,
oh man, I've seen that a couple times actually. I was at my mate's place and we're standing in the drive yard just chatting, and this magpie just sits on the because we're under his carport. The magpie just leans over the gutter, looks me directly in the eye, looks us in the eyes, like, hey, and then just drops and stands right in the driveway, and it's just like I'm talking a meter from us. It has no fear. It's like I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm just asserting my dominance here.
Yeah. It's exactly that. Like they full sussy. I was like, yeah, what are you gonna do, huh? Yeah, you want some of this swoopy action, do you, punk? But
so John is correct. The plovers, they don't swoop you like a magpie does. A magpie will try to attack your face, where the plover. So granted, I had sunglasses on, I had a hat on, I had headphones on. I really wasn't paying attention to my surroundings. So this thing's just come at me in my peripheral, and like, granted, it was still like a meter and a half from my face, enough to be like, Jesus Christ. And then I tripped and fucking blew apart my shoulder. But it's.
Did it feel sorry for you and come and say, "Hey, bro, you okay, man?" Like I didn't want that to happen.
Like I fell and it's still doing the hey, I get you. Hey, what are you doing? You
want some of this? What about this?
Yeah, you stay over there. What's going on? Like that's pretty much what I was doing. It's,
love it, man.
It's very cool.
John Papadopoulos in the house. How you doing, mate? Good seeing you. Matthew Veals, how you doing? And Tannen, so I said hello, and Nev as well. How you guys doing? But yeah, man, that's crazy. It was in a bit of a nuts week. Like, well, I mean, that was a few weeks ago for you, granted. But yeah, man, I thought I had a heart attack at some stage this week. Like,
yeah, fucking
yeah, it was fucking nuts. Like, I've never had a panic attack in my life. Like, not like I can imagine I've had like mild anxiety kind of attacks, you know, where you just kind of get that little surge of adrenaline, and you just like, you're not sure why you're uncomfortable, but you are, and you're just like trying to figure out what's going on. But this one woke me up like in the middle of my sleep. Like it was 3 a.m. and I'm just feeling like there was like this like pressure just like sitting on my chest, like my missus had just like rolled over and she was just sitting there, not in a good way. And I was just like, oh, why am I having a hard time breathing? Like I'm breathing normally, but I just don't feel like I'm getting any oxygen. And then suddenly, like my heart rate just went through the ceiling. Like it just like, I was like 110 beats a minute, and I was sitting there, and I just felt my heart like beating out of its chest. I'm just like, oh my God, what's going on? And like, I've done I'm not a medical. I've done advanced CPR. I've done all that kind of stuff, and I straight away knew I wasn't having a heart attack, because I couldn't feel any pain in my chest, in my arm, or anything of any of my extremities. But it was still concerning. Like you don't know what is happening. You just think, am I not having the attack? Is my heart just gonna stop? Like,
it's horrifying shit, isn't it?
Yeah, and I know that you deal with like anxiety attacks a bit, don't you?
Yeah, so my diagnosis is generalized anxiety disorder, so it just means it'll fucking happen. Like nothing will trigger it. There's no like PTSD or any particular moment of trauma. It's just like my brain's just fucking retarded, apart from plovers. I just used a word I probably shouldn't have.
It's okay.
My brain is dumb. That's happened to me quite a number of times, and it just blows you apart. Like, your chest just goes to town, your legs get jelly, you get like a cold sweat, and you cannot, like, it feels like slow-mo because your entire brain is just shooting. You know, you're like, everything is just intense. I've had a couple of them as well during the night. Same thing. I've woken up and I'm like, I'm standing up and then having to like pace my bedroom.
I just went to another room, opened the door, walked in the room, turned around, walked out. I'm just like, I don't know what I was doing. I had to move.
Yeah, because your body just like, do things, get up, you know, because you're like, because essentially, the panic attack is fight or flight, right? So your brain has gone, threat. There's a threat. You got to do something. I'm like, I don't know, walk around a bit, I guess.
Okay, I'll have a sip of water out of the tap. Yeah, nothing. Okay.
I just start picking up and throwing things, you know. Just
like I was literally like, I walked out of my room into the bathroom, and I was like standing there. I look, had a drink of water, walk back into the room, pacing the room left, right, and center. And Angie's awake, and she's just like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm just like, I can't stop. My heart is going crazy. I don't know what's going on. And I'm like I was like a bad coke habit, you know. And I was picking stuff up, putting it back down exactly where it was. Had the sweats, had everything going on. And then I eventually said, Angela, this is pretty serious. Like I think I might be dying. And then she's like, what are you talking about? I'm just like, have a feel of my chest. And she goes, put your watch on. And I put the watch on. I'm just like, measure. And it's like 110 beats a minute. This is like 10 minutes into the attack, like probably about maybe 5 minutes. I exaggerate, like 5 minutes, and then yeah, there's a threat. Brain, walk around, pick up that glass, move it half a centimeter, and put it down.
Well, it's because your brain's trying to comprehend. It's like it's identified. Like this is like lizard brain shit. Like this is the hypothalamus, I think is that way. So the part of your brain, this is like, that's the de-evolutionary part of your brain. That's like food, things, like the most basic level, right? So your brain's just, that part of your brain's like threat. Look around. And because a panic attack is your body thinking there's a threat when there isn't one, and your body's responding accordingly. So you, at that moment, you are searching for what the threat is.
Yeah.
Like what is it?
Matt Vels, I'm going to get to your question, mate, but we're just talking something else.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
So yeah, and then I sit down at the end of the bed and I'm thinking, okay, think back, medical training. All right, head down. So I put my head down and it was like, you know, like kind of not in between my knees, but just like as, you know, as close as I could get, you know, just like head down and deep breathing. And I said, Ange, I need you to come here and like just rub my back. And then, like she was just like rubbing my back and just calming me down. And like over the course of 5 minutes, I was taking my, you know, doing my, you know, thing here. And it was just slowly going down like 90, 80, 70, and back down to 60. And
you've just done one of the correct ways to deal with a panic attack, like without even realizing.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's like a controlled breathing is the best way. For some it doesn't work. So for my wife, it's a big helper. So she's been like, I'm trying to do that with me, but my brain doesn't stop kicking. So I just kind of like the breathing doesn't really work for me entirely.
No. Hey darling, can you want to say hello to everybody? We're live right now. Yeah. So I just got a visitor. She's just going to bed. Hey, do you want to say hello to everyone? Can you say I love you?
My little one's running around the lounge thinking that he's cat boy or something. So I don't know what he's doing.
No. Okay, be good. Love you. Love you.
Love you, Daddy.
That a girl. All right. Ugh. Man, I gotta put a lock on that thing. Okay.
Oh, dude, that's like my kid is like the example I use is the Velociraptor in Jurassic Park. You just see the door handle and you're like, oh, get fucked. He just kicks the door open. Yeah.
It's like when Iron Man's kicking down that door, like, you know, when he's escaping out of the cave. So then the next, like, I couldn't get back to sleep straight away, obviously, you know. So the next day I was like, I had that conversation with Angela. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to get this checked. I'll make an appointment, go see a doctor in the morning. So anyway, went to a doctor, had an ECG, had blood test. I haven't got the results of blood test yet, but basically he said to me, I believe you've had a severe panic attack. Are you prone to these kinds of things? I'm like, Doc, if I was prone to it, why would I be sitting in your office right now? And he goes,
I love John's explanation.
That's
basically your sympathetic nervous system is just like, but then Ash somehow actually went from to
yeah, pretty much. Brendan, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. That's very funny, John. You're killing it. Vicious in the house.
Accurate explanation.
Joel, how you doing? But ECG, they had to shave my chest. I don't know whether you can see it. Right then the bottom there. Yeah, see the hair kind of just stops there.
That's a clean clavage right there.
Yeah, isn't it just? Jeez. Limited ad suitability now, but so yeah, it just it kind of knocked me about, and I've had like lots of people message me and comment and everything like that. So thank you to all of you. You know who you are, just saying, oh, you know, you should really take it easy. I'm like, I can't. I do YouTube and full-time job, and I'm a dad. When can I take it easy? So who knows what I was panicking about, but yeah, fuck you, subconscious. That's all I want to say.
Obviously something's playing on your mind enough to a point. Could also just be a a bad dream, like you know, it's something could be something that simple. Like it doesn't always have to have a clear defined reason, and that's what makes them so. Because like 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty logically minded. So like panic attacks or anxiety attacks they are irrational by definition.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for my brain because you feel this sudden urge, like emotion over control takes over you, and you lose that logical part of your brain. You lose that like how to use your body. It's real weird. And then once it's done, you try to rationalize it and you can't because it doesn't make sense. It's like, well, because you try to think back, you're like, all right, well, what were the steps that got me to here? And that's one of the big coping mechanisms for anyone that does have anxiety disorders. It's like you got to try feel it coming before it happens so you can adjust accordingly. So you start to learn like those pre-symptoms, like, your irritability, like your heart rate, you feel your heart rate increase, bit of, wobbly in the legs or something, a bit of cold, like those couple of things. Like for me, I tend to feel it in my legs, or I find myself getting fidgety. So I'd be like, ah, shit. All right, well, hang on. I'm going to try recenter.
Is that now? No,
now? I just talk a lot with
Ryan. Are you having one now? Stay calm, whatever you do. Don't get worked up.
Why aren't you calm?
Calm down. Anyway, so, but yeah, like it's funny how the human brain works and how it messes with you. I knew that it wasn't a dream because usually I dream of naked Ange, and it's a Simpsons reference. Simpsons, yeah. Hopefully you got that. Yeah, I knew it was a dream of significance because I usually dream about naked Marge. But anyway, Vicious, he goes, this year's been so stressful itself, doing YouTube. Yeah, YouTube every day.
There's a lot of subconscious stress amongst all of us, and it presents itself in different ways, and a lot of it's, as you said, it's subconscious, like because you are in this constant state of stress and fear and unknown, especially with the current world pandemic, etc. It's one of those things. Like I talked about this. I think I talked about this on somewhere. So X amount of weeks ago when they announced like the American presidency, as well as they announced the reduction of restrictions for Victoria, so I was able to see my dad. Like I didn't realize how much I had emotionally behind the scenes sitting around that. So like when Dan Andrews announced that the restrictions, the ring of steel between the metro and regional areas of Victoria was lowered, and my dad could visit me, I just started fucking crying in my kitchen. Just because it was just like, even though I knew that was the answer was coming, the data had shown that that's what the answer was going to be. But the second hearing it, and it was this relief, it was this weight taken off my shoulders, and I was like, I knew I was gonna be like, I was just gonna be able to see my dad again. And then even with like the Biden stuff, like hearing Biden win, like it doesn't affect me, but I obviously got myself so involved in that process when that was announced and it was called, and like it felt like a dark cloud had been lifted over all of us, even though we're not directly related. So like until you get that, it's like a pressure valve, and once that releases, you go, oh shit, I didn't realize there was that pressure, because it's a slow build. And you had the same thing, like you had this pressure behind you and you didn't know what it was, and then it blew out while you were sleeping. We probably should go straight back and answer Patty's question.
So I feel like this is just like a episode of Sopranos. Like I'm just like sitting there. It's like, Doc, you gotta tell me what's wrong with me, like. That was really good explanation. But I forgot to ask you how about your dad. But we got to get back to these questions, as you're 100% right there. So, and Steve, we see your question as well. But Matt Vels, he asks, hey guys, been struggling to sticking to the man shakes consistently, even though I love it. Any pure advice that has helped you, and what sort of exercise have you done throughout your journey? Ryan, why don't you start? Why don't you take this one?
Like, it's when you say struggling sticking to it, is that like having 2 a day, or is that like sticking to it in general? Because like I think it is because you are changing your lifestyle, and that's how this should be looked at. So there will come teething problems. It won't be as simple as like, as of right now, I'm going to do this, and that's what it's going to be. So for many people, they're at a point where they can do that. You know, I myself, I didn't. My journey started in January, but I didn't start doing the shakes until March. So I had like a training window where I kind of, I didn't drink as much soft drink. I didn't buy my lunch anymore. Like all these little minor things that affect sort of these lifestyle changes before I went into a weight loss journey. So I was almost essentially pre-warming, doing some pre-workout heading into my actual journey. So in terms of consistency, like that's fine. You know, you can flux here and there. Like just be, it's like rules. You can bend rules, just don't break them. You know what I mean? So like, some days on the weekend, I'll only have one shake instead of two. I might have a sandwich for my lunch instead, because like if I feel like having a sandwich, you know what I mean? It's like, I try to behave very best I can during the week, but you have those little flexibilities. And like, so technically I've quote unquote, I've bent the diet, but okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's also find things throughout it. Like, are you lacking the consistency, or is the consistency lost because you're going too hard on yourself? As in, have you put very, very strong lines in the sand? And as as everyone knows, like if you make that divider really hard, it's more likely that you will quote relapse or break or binge eat or something, right? So an example, when I started my journey, I decided that I will keep soft drink in my life, because I know that that's a big thing for me. And if I cut that out completely, especially when I started, it would have gone bad. I would have relapsed and broken in a heartbeat. So instead, I shifted to less. So rather than drinking liters per day, I have a can, and I have it with dinner, and it's Coke Zero now, and not full, full strength
full-blooded Coke.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. And that's the little thing that I have that I go, every day I know I'm going to get that. So these other restrictions that I'm making upon myself, these my one exception. And then I have it, and it's fucking awesome. And then that helps keep me in line, and to find those little things that sort of make it easy. I'll give you an answer, then we'll talk exercise.
Yeah, no, Matt, Ryan pretty much nailed it. Like, I mean, if you might be, being a bit too hard on yourself as well. Like, I mean, sticking to the shakes consistently, like even if you're doing one a day, you're still doing the shakes, but it's a matter of how hard you want to go. And you got to remember that life happens, right? And I replace the word shit with life. Life happens, right? You're going to be in situations where you are expected to eat. You'll be in a social gathering. You'll be out to lunch. You'll have your celebration meal. Like for me, for example, I'd have my celebration meal on Thursday night, right? And then the next day I find out, oh wait, we're having friends over for a barbecue, and this was only just planned, right? I'm not going to sit there and drink a freaking shake when I'm cooking up a barbecue for everyone, and that's just life. You got to make those adjustments. But the thing about the man shake and what this weight loss journey and these lifestyle changes are trying to teach you is that you can have those indulgences, but
excuse me,
so long, for the most part, like 90% of the time, you're on the straight and narrow. You're back to a plan, right? It's when you don't have a plan. That's when you're binge eating, you're eating soft drinks, you're eating all sorts of junk, and you're gaining that weight. So don't kick your own ass, because unless you are like actively going out of your way to not have the shakes, despite the fact you like it, then I think it's just a matter of fine tuning a few things, and sticking to them. Keeping your mind busy as well. Like, I mean, for me, if I'm bored, if I'm not, I don't know, are you working at the moment, Matt? Because if you're not, that's another hard issue. Like, I mean, if you're not working, not keeping your mind active, you want to go to the fridge and you want to eat. That's just a human condition. This is what it is.
And I think it also depends on how, this is another thing as well, how it might work for your brain and how you understand. So, it's the whole idea that you are responsible for your choices. And I think that I saw a video about this the other day, and it's very harsh. It's a very harsh thing to hear, but it's not a situation of you're not struggling to do it. You're making the choice not to do it.
Yeah.
Unless someone is literally pinning you down and putting shit in your face, then you are making those choices and own those choices. You know, an example like today, you know, I did something I normally wouldn't do. I had a couple of those. My wife was having a cuppa. So I had those, you know, niece biscuits.
Oh.
I made the choice to have a couple of them. I was like, fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
And like, that's not me going, oh, I'm not sticking to the diet. No, that's me making a choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's and that's the same thing. Like, you make that choice. If you do have people over, or if you can't stick to it, cool. And to me, that's very important, because that puts it back on me, rather than putting it on an outside thing that I allegedly don't have control over. It's me.
Yeah.
And I can control me. I can't control the outside world, but I can control me.
The most important thing about controlling yourself is not to totally self-destruct. And Adam McDougall said something the other night that I absolutely loved. It's like blowing a flat tire and then getting out and slashing the other three. Like, it's like, yeah, it does make sense. You know, if you're on a weight loss journey and you have one mishap or two, doesn't mean you're back at the start. Doesn't mean you're all over. You've just delayed yourself a day. Just keep going.
But on top of that as well, like, this is a journey. It's journeys take time. Like, and there's hurdles on the way, and there's potholes on the way. But it's all about getting to the end destination. Because think about it, right? Like, when you get to that end destination, you need to be in a place where you can go with those ins and outs of what life is going to become. You know, but when you decide to when you've hit your weight, your goal weight, and you're adjusting your day and what your plans are, you know, you'll have to allow for those moments where you're like, I've gone out for a coffee and someone's offered me a biscuit. Do I have the biscuit?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you know, there's a lot of that, and it's planning for that. Because as we say here, and we've said on Man Talk, and, you know, and I know Ash is a big component of it as well, is it's lifestyle change, man. Like, a weight loss journey implies that you'll get to that point and it's done. No, because like, there are things that need to change. Otherwise, you will end up where you were and you'll be doing it all over again. Like, I know Ash talked about that because he talked about previously when he got all super jacked and then he went back into old habits. He's had to change his life to get to this point.
Yeah, exactly right. And Ryan, you've absolutely nailed it, man. Great job. It just, Matt, willpower, mate. That's all it is. Just take a little bit of willpower.
Yeah,
and
that takes practice. It's a muscle, and it's a muscle that you have to work on. If we all had exceptional willpower, we wouldn't be in the circumstances that we're in.
Thank you so much for using my analogy. I love it. The willpower muscle. I love it.
Oh, really? I didn't mean that. My bad. But no, it is. And like, you have to work on it, and it's something that you need to do. Like, so, you know, it's a situation of, say you go out for lunch, because you've mentioned here social problems, the social battle, right? Of like trying to. I had a mate of mine who I hadn't seen in a while, because he lives in here in Geelong as well, and he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, let's go out for lunch," and I was like, "I'll go with you. I can't have lunch. I'll have my stuff, but I'll come with you."
Yeah,
and that's willpower, and like, that's practice. Like, because when I first started my journey, I would have been like, where are we going to go? Because like, I'll look for a reason to break it. But, you know, you've got to get to that point.
Let people know what you're doing as well, in case you haven't done that. But in terms of exercise, my man, we're moving on to the second part of your question. We got other questions here, but we'll get to them. Second part of your question, exercise. When I first started my weight loss journey, my man, I work an office job. I'm very sitting and doing my thing. I do wear one of these. It was more because I was a bit of a tech dork than at the time. I was just like, I want a smartwatch that tells me stuff. Like, it's not like I want to track my fitness because I was 160 kilos. Like, I need to know how many kilojoules I burnt. Yeah, all that. But I had an idea on how many steps I would do on a standard day. And then I just was like, okay. And you can go back and watch my video. I was just like, I'm going to do a half an hour walk. I'm going to spend my lunch half an hour walking. And that added about 2,000 steps. So I was like, okay, so I'm getting about 6,000 steps on that day. I'm just doing half an hour walk every day. 6,000 steps is my goal. I did that for probably about 4 or 5 months and was consistently losing like 2 and a bit kilos. The only other things I have done is I did dabble with swimming for a few weeks when the gyms before COVID shut. And I've done some DDP yoga, not religiously. You know, I'll just do, maybe 1 or 2 sessions a week for a few weeks. And then the man challenge. That's it. Other than that, just walking. That's all I do.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. Mine is walking. When I started my journey, my plan was never about steps, because I think if you get specific, like, that's when you can line yourself up to fail, especially early on, especially when you're completely changing what you do on a daily. So for me, it was 30 minutes. Whether that 30 minutes be 2,000 steps, whether that 30 minutes be 9,000 steps, it doesn't matter. At the end of my day, I hit 30 minutes. Because then, like, because I use an Apple Watch, so the Apple Watch, times it. So cool, that was it. That was my line. And most days, where I would park, because I used to park at work, but now I park further away so I can get the steps in, right? So that normally covers my 30 minutes. So then everything else throughout the day is an added bonus, was sort of how I was looking at it. Where now I've since shifted locations at work. So we have 2 sites now because of the pandemic. And one of them has a car park that's the only place I can park. So it's very close. So there's less steps. So for myself, it's just more like finding new ways to get that up. So whether that be big walks on the weekend, your DDP as well. I haven't done it recently with my shoulder, but DDP I used to do quite frequently, because to me that's as my journey progresses, I want to understand and get better at that intrinsic link between and understanding my body, like link between my brain and my body. So that's why I'm also skateboarding now. I try to pick skateboarding up again, because you have to have such an understanding of how your physical body works and how it interacts with the world around you. So something I've never had before. So if I can get that connection going, that's how I know I'm sort of getting there. Additionally, I've now that the weather is nicer. Well, not right now. It sucks today, but the weather's been nicer. So at work, where I work, there's a nice little big lawn. So I'm also trying to bring a bit of fitness into my Aaron Edwards. I'm a massive.
I saw that question. I'm just like, he's going to stop here mid answer.
I'm a massive wrestling fan. So I'm also trying to bring a bit of healthiness into work. So for those who don't know, I'm a youth disability mental health worker, and a big, I use gaming and gaming hobbies to assist those with skills building for those on the ASD spectrum, as well as mental health challenges like ADHD, expression anxiety, etc. So a big part of me is I want to help them break the stereotype and stigma of gamers, right? Everyone assumes we're basement dwelling fat dudes that can't do shit. So for me, I go the other way. I'm like, well, let's break it. Let's go out and kick a footy around. So we've got a footy, we've got like an NFL football that we can pair, we've got frisbees, and that's where I'm getting a bit more in. So, at this office, I'm not walking because my car's parked really close, but I adapt. I bring that in. I know it's very selfish of me, but it also helps the clients too. So, because there's no pressure of we're not playing professional football, we're just kicking it around. And if you suck at it, who cares? Everybody sucks at something. One of the discussions I have with them, when was the last time you actively threw a football? And they're like, I don't know, when I was in school. I'm like, how old are you now? Like, I'm 28. You haven't been to school in 10 years. You haven't thrown a ball in 10 years. Of course you're going to be rusty.
Yeah.
And then watch them.
It's funny how you said you want to learn that link between your mental self and your body. And I 100% get that, in the fact that you made me really think about it. I've been challenging myself, physically, in now that I've lost 50 plus kilos, I was just like, and this happened this morning, right? And I got a few other examples, but I was like, I wonder if I could do 25 push-ups just in a row. And this is probably about 15 minutes after I got out of bed. I just hit the ground and just did 25 push-ups. I'm just like, that wasn't that hard. And then I was running for the train. This is a few weeks back. And I was like, the train's coming in. And I started running for it. And I kind of felt like Captain America when he first got out of the lab and he started running and getting progressively faster. He starts just speeding up. I was just oh, wait a minute, I can run faster than this. And then it's just okay, I can run a little faster than this. And here I am, just full sprint for no reason. I made it to the train before I even finished getting to the platform. I'm like, okay. And then I started where I go for a walk. There's sets of 4 stairs. I'm like, wonder if I can jump down 4 stairs. Just jump down. I'm like, there you go. And yeah, it's funny how you get that little link between your brain and wanting to learn what your new body can do.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm
Well,
not
and
quite the
that's the thing,
same as
like,
Chris Evans just yet.
no, we'll give it a try though. But yeah, so the same thing, like running around playing football. Like I've never played fucking sports in my life. So, so I'm like, well, let's see if I can do it. Same thing as you. I find myself like some bit of running here and there. I'm like, not for like long term. I'm like, well, on my usual walk, I'm like, let's see if I can sprint this section of it. Let's see how far I can push myself. And then I end up sprinting. I'm like, that was mad. I didn't know I could do that, and I did. And like even today, I went to, because the weather was garbage and I'm not quite there to get a gym membership, and even then with Victoria's restrictions on them right now, it's not really
when
worth
you say
my time.
not quite there, do you mean mentally, or are you just like something else there?
Well, no, I in terms of like, I don't think, because the other thing as well is with my schedule as it is, I don't know where I can fit it in yet.
Okay.
If I wanted to.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Keep going.
So, no, that's right. No, because that's the same. Because we'll come back to. So in terms of your steps and stuff, because my schedule is like fucked. It's so full. Like I work full time, and then I've got my side hustle as well, and there's a bunch of other things that come up in line. So like my free time to go and do a bunch of exercise is very minimal. Like there's not a very big window. So like for yourself, who has like a 10,000 step minimum, mine's 6, because I know that with my day job, I don't like my lunch break. I don't really get one. I don't get a clear half hour. It's like 5 minutes and then maybe another 10 minutes here, and like it's scattered throughout the day. So I don't really have a clean time where I can go and do something like that. So I just grab it where I can is sort of how I go. So some days it won't hit there, but if I hit 6, I know I've done good for the day.
Good.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. So it's for that reason I haven't gone to the gym, because they've been locked for the longest time, and now that they're back, and you only get an hour, and there's only X amount of people per time. So even if you did, you'd have to book in, and there's so many people wanting to go back, it'd be near impossible to get a spot. So with today being the weather as garbage as it is here in Geelong, I went to my in-laws. They have a very small like treadmill, so I was on that for about 45 minutes, just doing a sort of a upbeat sort of walk. And then they have an exercise bike. I'm like, man, I've never really given exercise bike a go. So I jumped on it after I'd done my walk, which is that normally is it. And then I ended up pumping out 10Ks in that bad boy. I'm like, holy shit.
Wow.
How the fuck did I do that?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like it was. I don't know. Like I don't know whether it's any good for any. Like, cause for me it was 10Ks in 20 minutes. I don't know whether
you have no comparison, but like.
I don't know what that means. Yeah. I'm like, but I did it.
I did it. Whereas before, you would just actively avoid it. But yeah, it's like, I say that my daughter's the smartest girl in the world, but she's 4 and I got no point of reference. So yeah, I 100% understand that. But man, I think we nailed Matt's question there. He actually said, nice work, bro. I value that. I'm an FIS worker, family intervention support, working with families to keep their children instead of losing them to the child protection system. So I appreciate it, dude. Wow. Good on you, man.
That's a tough job, dude. That's a real tough job. So you're a much stronger man than I. That's fantastic.
I don't know how anyone, like, I don't know how you can do
certain
that.
kind of person.
I would not be able to, I would be panic attacking every single day. Yeah. I don't know how you do it, man. Good on you. So we'll move on to, there was another question from
there's one from Steve back.
Garda. He says, I have a question, guys. Do you have any tips for someone who wants to eat better, drink more water, exercise more when they are tired from work, streaming, and social stuff? Or is it just willpower?
That's a lot of balancing. That's the same. That's my life.
That's my life too. Yeah, I do daily videos, daily content. I do family and I do full-time job, and I travel like about an hour each way to get to the office. So it's full-time gig, but you just need to remind yourself why you're doing it. I have a goal list that I put up on the wall that has like short, medium, long-term goals. And that keeps me, because every day when I wake up, I see it and I know exactly what I want to achieve, why I'm doing this. Some people, one bloke named Aaron, hope you're doing well, Aaron, haven't seen you in a little while. He actually suggested to a lot of blokes to write down a list of how you feel about yourself, how you feel physically, and how you feel emotionally now. Like when you are at your fattest, when you've just started your weight loss journey, Right, why you hate yourself, basically, why you're doing this, what, you know, how you feel when you wake up in the morning, you know, how you feel emotionally, how you feel around social situations, how you feel being introduced to new people, how you feel about yourself in clothing shops. You know, write down all these reasons on a piece of paper and refer to that anytime you're losing willpower. So anytime you think, you know, oh, I can't be asked today, you go list and you look at it, and then that might be enough to jog that sort of that motivational, you know, muscle, and push you in the right direction, I'd say. But there's a lot of ways. Like, it's just a matter of finding your own motivation. There's no one right answer.
That's the big thing. Like, no one can tell you to be motivated. No one can tell you to get willpower. Like, you have to do it. It's in you. And that means, like, yeah, in terms of that schedule, it's the same schedule, you know, same schedule that I have, very similar to what Ash has. Like, it's balance. You find that balance. You know, you look at it, like, if you need to make time, as I said, like right now, I can't make time for the gym, and I want to at some point. So I adapt. So I'm like, all right, well, I want to hit X amount of this. So right now I'm on the hunt for a exercise bike, because, you know, as I mentioned before, I'm a big wrestling fan. So I watch about 5 hours at minimum a week of wrestling. I'm like, well, instead of me sitting on the couch watching 5 hours of wrestling, what if I get a treadmill? What if I get an exercise bike? So therefore I'm sitting there, I'm still watching it. I'm still getting the fun from watching wrestling. And now I'm, you know, just getting some extra work in there. You know, and like, because, you know, as I, you know, being a mental health worker, like, you can get real drained by the end of the day. It's a whole different part of your brain, you know what I mean? So you, like, you can be emotionally, like, may not be physically exhausted, but you can be mentally just drained. So it's very tough to push yourself to that point. But yeah, if you have that list of how you're feeling or what's going on, or, you know, if, you know, like Ash and myself, like, we have a child. So I look at the child and I'm like, that's it. And then you think about the wins, like whether it be your weight, whether it be an actual number, whether it be moments. And you think about different moments, the moment that you were able to get a different size pair of pants, the moment that you were able to wear a shirt you couldn't, the moment that you were able to, where you know, you slunk between two people at the train station without bumping them with your guts. I mean, like, it's like things you don't realize, then you go, oh shit. You know what I mean? Or you, like, an example is like last week, or it was last week, the week before, I went to the park with my son, and I can fit on slides, I can fit on the swings, and I was able to keep up with him and swing and run and jump around and climb all this shit without any issue.
Yeah.
And like, that's a motivator for me now, because I can think about that moment, how powerful that moment was to me. That's something I never would have done. I wouldn't have had the confidence to do it. I wouldn't have had the physical capabilities of doing it.
Yeah.
Where now I'm like, he's like, let's go for a run, Daddy. I'm like, fucking sure. And when we're running up things and having a great old time, and he's going to remember that. And I remember that, you know, because like, thankfully he's young enough that he hopefully won't forget the time that I couldn't do that.
Massive achievements, man. Massive achievements. And they might seem very small. Like one time I went to a pub that I used to frequent a fair bit with my mom, and, you know, when we go out for lunch, we'd always be sitting at a table that had like the chairs you can, you know, move around. Never sat in the booth. You know why? Because I learned the first time I went there, can't fit in the booth. The belly rolls over on top of it because you can't move the table in a booth. Now, can you? And one of massive victory I had was when I sat in there and there was literally like 3 or 4 inches between me and the table. I'm like, wow. So this is what it's like in the booth. It's so leathery and soft.
So Steve has also added, I can't even do minor things without pants at the moment. And look, once again, it's all got to come down to, it's got to come to expectations as well. Like, you know, when Ash was 160 at his heaviest, when I was 140 at my heaviest, it's a situation of like, you need to know, like, I'm not going to be able to run. I'm not going to be able to sprint. I'm not going to be able to do all these high level exercise. It takes time. So it's like, you know, it's that slow build. And you also need to have that acknowledgement and that understanding within yourself. You're like, I won't be able to do everything right now.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Give it time.
Like, if I can only hit, you know, 4,000 steps at the moment, cool. Because in time, you'll be able to walk faster. Therefore, you're going to hit more steps. And it's just one of those things you don't realize. It's a forest from the trees thing. Like, you know, even I myself, I look in the mirror and I don't see me. I don't see a 28 kilo loss. I see fat dude.
I still see fat dude.
And
yeah,
that's tough. But then it's and then you have moments when you catch yourself in a mirror and you feel better, or you realize you're wearing a shirt that you couldn't, or you see an old photo of yourself and you go, fuck.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. Weight loss, once again, if weight loss was easy, we'd all be thin as hell.
I'm constantly walking around now, like looking at other blokes thinking, how do I compare? Like, am I like, does my body seem right? Like, am I still fat? Like, do I still feel like a fat guy? And if you've been dealing with overweight issues for some time, you're never going to be like, you're never really going to get over it. You're always going to have that in the back of your head. But the most important thing is be realistic with your goals. Don't try to run before you can walk, right? And take it slow. You didn't gain it overnight. You're not going to lose it overnight. It's been 10 months and like I've been pretty damn committed, you know, but like there have been plenty of times that I've just wanted to just call it quits. There have been so many times I've just gone, nah, can't be fucked today. Honestly, all I want to do right now is go and have a bacon and egg McMuffin and like 5 hash browns. But like, it's just using that willpower and, you know, using those motivators that I've made for myself, be it this YouTube channel, my goals list and my daughter and photos and all that kind of shit that I put together into one neat little motivational box that I can open up anytime that I want it and look inside and go, oh, the Tesseract, and just, find my energy and, you know, just move on with my journey. And, my man, I know you can do it. And I say this to everyone out there. You know, if you are struggling with yourself getting to where you need to be, reach out, talk to someone, bring your into your support network, into it, your friends, your family members, and all of that. And most importantly, you can always reach out to myself or any of the other blokes on the Man Shakers page. I know Ryan is always willing to bend an ear. I'm not going to throw you completely under the bus, but you can always reach out.
Always got time.
You know, it's just that we're all there for everyone, you know. So Stephen Singh, who's in this chat, just said I started 1,000 steps, now do 10,000. Now 10,000 is doable. Stephen Singh has lost 65 kilos, and he did it in the height of COVID lockdown, where he was not working. And he had the full day where he could just be alone with his thoughts in his pantry. But he decided he's going to make a difference. He was walking 1.5 to 2.5 hours every single day, going hard on the Man Shake, and he lost 65 kilos. He's an absolute machine.
But Stephen is an absolute machine. I can't fucking no one.
He's a cybernetic organism sent from the future to lose weight using the Man Shake.
But one thing you should take into account, Steve, is as to what Ash said before, it's like set those goals low. Like, don't go into this being like, I want to hit a large shirt when you're currently a 4XL. Like, that's not reasonable. No. Aim low. Go from 4 to a 3. And the best thing about fucking low goals is you can kick their face in.
Yeah. Make them achievable.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you make the goals big, you're like, what the fuck? How about, like, it seems unreachable. But if you put the goal here and you just go, and you punch that goal's face in, like, sweet. What's the next really close goal that I can punch? You know, and it's like, because like it is a journey. It's a ladder. It's little rungs of a ladder. Like, you can't reasonably reach big rungs, but you can take little ones. You know?
Yeah, exactly right. Make the goals achievable and kick their fucking asses. I saw YOLO Warrior in the house. YOLO Warrior 2298. I haven't seen him in ages. Really good to see you, man. And he said that he met Tanker back in the day of WWF.
Nice.
So go on.
So go back to a question from Dale Smith earlier. BETSON, did your injury slow you down? Yes. Big time. He was right in the middle of Man Challenge, and like I've not been able to go back. And I was like, I had lined up that first week of Man Challenge. I was roaring. I was kicking its face in, and like, 'cause I was doing it with my dad. So my dad, you know, as I said before, lives in Metro Melbourne. I live here in regional Victoria. So we would sync up 5:30. We would FaceTime each other. We would pull up on the TV. He would do it. I would do it. My son would do it next to me, and he'd be like, "Hey, Papa, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do jumps now." And you know, it was a big family thing. It was awesome. And then next thing you know, I'm blown out my shoulder and I can't do it because obviously it's a whole body workout. Like I can't stretch it because it was muscles and muscles were damaged. I can't jump because it's jarring. I couldn't the weight bear. Like it slowed me the fuck down. And it wasn't it's like the second injury that I've had on my weight loss journey. Like my other one is a bit more of a personal injury. Like I so fun fact, if you're doing the man shake, high protein diets, make poop harder, make sure you have fiber, otherwise you'll damage your butthole like I did and you'll be out for 8 weeks minimum. You really can't exercise. It's not good. Be nice. But so like I've had 2 little injuries through my journey that have slowed me down. And if anything, they could have derailed me, but they didn't. Because the support network of the Manshake crew, with the likes of Ash and Tim and Jerd and Lloyd and 40 and everyone else in the community itself, like
Jim and Ted.
Yeah, I mean, like the other ambassadors alongside myself, as well as everyone else in the group as well. It's a big thing. Like I went in there and I said, "Hey, I've fucking blown out my ass and it hurts and I hate it and I'm sick of the pain and it's really tough." And I was surrounded by people that helped me and gave me the motivation to keep going, and and that's part of it. And that's a big thing. Otherwise, if I hadn't told anyone, I would have just fucking wallowed, and that shit stays internal, and you would break, and you would relapse, and you'd have a really shit time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it did slow me down big time, but I'm now adapting and working. Yeah, it's hashtag respect the butthole.
I'm pretty sure it's respect with a K instead of the CT, but close enough.
That's like Ali G. It's Restepa.
Oh geez. Also I saw Mary Gets Fit is in the house. How you doing, Mary Gets Fit? Really good seeing you. And Vicious as well. How are we doing, guys?
Hey.
And there's someone else here.
So Tannins also adds, my daily coffee in the morning, a flat white extra shot on with skim milk. It's my thing. It's my thing I won't give up. Yeah, that's cool. And one thing, you have that thing and you know that thing, you work around that thing. I mean, as long as that thing's on heroin. Like I'm trying to have a weight. Actually, if you had heroin, you'd have a really quick weight loss journey. But you mean like you're not going to plan your day around it? Yeah, as long as it's healthy.
Stephen saying, I have to go, gentlemen. Have the Monday blues of work to get started. Yep. Have a lovely evening, fellas. You're all champions, and you can do it. I'm on the what?
It's on the beers.
We'll wait. Yeah, we'll wait. It's not like we're doing anything here. Take it.
I think he is on the beers. Yeah. It's broke out.
I'm on the Man Shakers page. If you ever want to chat, you can do it. Thanks, Stephen. You have a good one, mate.
But yeah, sorry, back to Aaron Edwards. Yeah, this is an old question. Yeah, DDP Yoga is amazing. You guys wrestling fans. Yeah, I'm a big wrestling fan. Wrestling is my mental health checker. It's the thing that I do to relax and escape from the world because it's stupid. And like it's knowingly stupid. And that's one thing that everyone should also take into account in general for your own mental health. Find your moment of escapism. Find something that you can do that separates you from the things you have in your life. Like, so for Ash, it's getting in his car, driving the car, tinkering the car. I don't know, smooching the car. I don't know what you do with cars.
It involves the exhaust.
So for me, yeah, just like
the exhaust pipe.
Thing. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I probably wouldn't. It probably seems very sooty and not a very good thing. WWE, AEW, both. I watch WWE primarily because it's I like the stupidness of it. Where AEW you kind of have to think in some ways because it's a bit more intricacies in the match. In the actual matches themselves, but I one of the things I do is I have a weekly wrestling show called The Young and the Wrestlers, where we play within the kayfabe of WWE and we pretend it's all real and we pretend the stories these are the things that are really happening, and it's fun. It allows me to check out and just be stupid for a little while. I'm like, man, it's a real shame that like Rey Mysterio won't let Buddy Murphy date his daughter. No. It's stuff
Ryan,
stuff
from
like
all
that.
the extended conversations I've had with you, you don't need wrestling to be stupid. Trust me.
But yeah, so once again, that's something that everyone should have across their journey. Actually, is you need something to check out.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
Yeah. So yeah, I like Ryan nailed it. I have my car, I have my YouTube channel, but I also have I play Xbox just for a bit of fun. and I watched The Mandalorian. So I wanted to mention something earlier because you said you watch your stuff while you do your exercise. I've actually adapted my viewership of The Mandalorian because the episodes get released Friday night. I could fully watch it Friday night if I wanted to, but I actually save it for the Saturday or the Sunday morning to when I can go to my gym and walk on the treadmill and have it on the treadmill in front of me. Why don't I do it when I'm walking normally? It's because the sun glares on it. You can never you can never really see the picture because it's always so fucking dark in space. What's with that? But anyway, so I put on the treadmill so I can see it. And yeah, that's a 35 to 40 minute walk right there. Goes in a blink, honestly, because the Mandalorian goes so quick. But Ben Jacker. Now, Ben Jacker, ladies and gentlemen, he has been following me since probably like February or January. It was like very early on in the whole That Fat Guy channel kind of thing. So thank you for sticking with me, Ben. He's even done a fat chat with me where we talked about his weight loss journey and all of that. And he was telling me, like, he mentioned it before, before he had a smartwatch, he had a guess that he would do roughly about 8,000 steps. And since he got the watch, he was averaging around 15,000. You'd be surprised how much walking you get in a day. And mate, honestly, 15,000 steps a day, it's amazing. And the difference that he is, that Ben Jacker has shown, and he has a tough gig because he is a gardener landscaper. So he is surrounded by other blokes and like they're like the old timer tradie, you know, that kind of work out in the sun, have the sausage roll and the smoko and the iced coffee and all that. And he's stuck strong like the entire way. And they gave him heaps at the start, apparently. Like they'll give him, oh, you have another shake, are you? And then he's converted a few of them. A few of them are starting their weight loss journeys. They're having shakes because they've seen how much weight he's lost. He's lost a bunch. He's lost like, I think it was like 20 kilos or something. I get your photos, Ben, but I've forgotten the numbers, my man. Feel free to let us know. But hey, Jerdman's in the house. How you doing, Jerd?
Hey, that doesn't happen often.
Yeah, no. Holy fuck. What is the sky falling? Nah, I cheer him up every time. Jerdman, good seeing you. He's actually been featuring on my live streams every Wednesday for the last 3 weeks. State of Origin. I had lots of fun doing that.
Did you though?
Yeah. No, yeah. Not as much as.
I don't know what happened. All I know is that your sports team did worse sports.
they didn't sports as well as the other team.
Yeah, they really should have done more sportsing and get more points. If they had got more points, it would have been a very different outcome. So that would have been the ideal way that should have gone.
Yeah, in the allotted time that it takes for the game to finish in the quarters. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I had a lot of fun, to be honest, because like really I didn't have my heart in the Origin this year because it's kind of after the end of the season. This year's been so fucked and everything's been taking so long and everything. I was just like, yeah, you know, for me, it goes either way. So I would really like it to be mid-season again next year, and then I would really get into it. But Matt Velzy says, do you guys play Warzone? If so, what's your account name? Is Warzone a type of
Call of Duty? Call of Duty Warzone.
Okay, no.
No. So as I said, my side hustle is what's the term? I'm a content creator, but I'm an enthusiast press. So I'm a games reviewer, primarily in PlayStation. I don't play Call of Duty because I'm always playing games for review. But if you play PlayStation, add me. It's just BETSON, so it's just my surname in capital letters. Go ahead. Why not?
Could you, John, you're on fire tonight. Could you imagine Ash going into space as an astronaut and instead of being amazed or enjoying his view for the first...
Why is it so fucking dark here?
Why is it so fucking dark in space? At least I can see the Mandalorian now.
Oh, why is the signal so shit?
Oh, it's so funny.
Man, I have like such an unrealistic fear of space.
Why?
Like, so I have like a pretty good fucking fatty fall down phobia, right? Like a good big fear of heights.
You're going to be the media that puts it leads to our extinction, is it? Oh, the BETSON media is going to impact somewhere in the north of Mexico. the immediate fallout.
So like I don't like space because it's that my fear of heights isn't the fear of heights. It's in fact the fear of falling, right? So space is forever falling, which is horrifying. And also I'm not a big fan of the ocean because the ocean is falling but slower and with less breathing. So like actually really both of them have less breathing. They both kind of suck. Oh, thanks, Tannins. I just saw they got the notification. Hell yeah. Yeah, so like that's not a big fan. Like did you see The Martian with Matt Damon?
Matt Damon, yeah, of course I did.
Yeah, you know that he does that scene where he like cuts his hand and like uses the depressurization to like shoot himself. Yeah. It's like, nah. I had that. If you want to talk about panic attacks, I had a fucking panic attack watching that movie. That was I can't watch Gravity. Apparently Gravity's really good. I ain't watching it.
Watch it. No, you have to.
It's horrifying.
Watch it.
It's horrifying.
It's actually pretty good. It's actually really nice. Yeah, I mean, it's Sandra Bullock. Like, I mean, it's good, but it was good, and I liked it. But I 100% understand the ocean one. The one like the ocean where if you're stuck in the middle of the ocean and you cannot see the ground, and there's like these fucking creatures underneath you that can just at any moment just decide, that guy's looking pretty tasty right there. Nice little snack. Yeah, I get that. Space. You're never going to be in space, Ryan. Like, why are you scared of it? Like.
Once again, fear by definition is like an irrational response. And it's like, it is literally an irrational fear. Like, I'm never going to space. But I'm like, space is fucking scary. I have played Subnautica and no, I didn't enjoy. I played that and I played Soma as well.
Oh, you should play Dead Space. Dead Space, great game.
Yeah, Dead Space.
Get me in, Coach. How you doing, mate? Good seeing you. Cheeky underdogs in the house.
But I do push it sometimes, and especially in like, with my fear of heights, I like to play VR that pushes that fear. So I play like Star Wars Squadrons, which is like space. I'm like, looked out and there's like nothing. So I like to push it sometimes for fun. Like I played Iron Man VR, which is, you essentially be Iron Man and got like jiggly legs and shit, but it's fun to play.
There's like, those VRs where they put you in situations where you're like walking a plank on above like in between two buildings. That kind of stuff gets me. I don't like heights as well. I got a very rational fear of heights because like heights, if you fall down, you're dead. I get that.
Yeah, John's got a good point. He goes, the fear is death, not space or heights. Yeah, big time. I have a massive fear of death. Like, I'll be lying in bed sometimes. My brain's like, hey, Ryan, you're going to die someday, right? I'm like, oh, fuck. And then everything crumbles for a little bit.
You won't even know that you're dead.
Yeah, you're dead and you won't even realize. Like, no.
Best part about being dead is that you don't know that you're dead. You just cease. That's it.
Yeah. I just don't like the idea that everything fucking ends. Because like, what's the fucking point? If it all ends,
ladies and gentlemen,
which is why I understand
stumbled into the deep side of YouTube. Here we go. Yeah, Here we go. Just lay back and listen. What do you think happens when you die, Ryan?
Fucking nothing. You die.
That's it. Done. Lights out.
And like, that's the problem. Is my emotional brain's like, it can't be that. My logical brain's like, no, that's what fucking happens. You die. But I'm like, I don't want it to be that easy. Like, I don't want to just leave my family and my friends and like everything I've built up into this point. It's like, well, too fucking bad. You don't have a choice.
Judd nailed it. Tony Soprano felt the same way. Who here thinks that Soprano got whacked at the end of it?
Oh, he got straight up shot at the end.
Straight up whacked. You froze him with a kissy face, mate.
Ooh, perfect.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's translated to the stream, but I think it has.
It has.
Oh, hold on. Wait, he's gone. He's back.
The Elgato cam link. And sometimes it just shits the bed and freezes. And then I have to like remind it.
Yeah. Yeah. So does anyone else have any other burning questions, or did we miss anything?
Aaron also adds, would love to chat with you guys sometime regarding weight loss, steps, mental health, wrestling, etc. Yeah, man, reach out. I'm always down to talk about that.
Yeah.
Sexy lips BETSON. Yeah, that's right.
Sexy, strong word.
Grew these myself.
Oh, God.
Actually, let's have speaking of a side conversation. Peace out, Jed, man.
Love you, Jed.
Love you long time. It's just a side conversation. It's something I had realization the other day. Now, with your weight loss, in terms of the self-confidence and self-belief, do you consider yourself actively more attractive now?
Oh, no, because I knew I was a sexy bitch from when I first started. Yes. Like I honestly have a lot more confidence in that. Like, I mean, not that I think that way. It's more or less that I believe people treat me differently now, the way I look now, than what I did when I was 160 kilos. And I 100% believe that you get treated differently from when you are like morbidly fat, like, yeah, to when you are like something like, yeah, like people make eye contact like that. That's such a huge thing. But I've noticed a lot more people are actually looking at me in the face, and yeah, you may think, you got nothing to compare that to. It's like, well, I kind of do, because, going out, during COVID and all that, it was few and far between, and only that, it was just shops. But now that everything's kind of returning to somewhat of normality and you're getting into social situations again, I'm finding that people are actually looking at me more and conversing with me and actively listening and looking at me more. It's just, I find that that's a bit of a confidence booster there. Whereas before, they're just saying, this sweaty guy, what's he going to do? Eat me?
Because like recently I sort of have had that sort of self-reflection. Like I still don't consider myself like conventionally attractive. Like, it's just not something that I do. But I do feel more like, it's weird, I still do feel more attractive though now that I've lost like my 30 kilos. Like it's part of it, I guess. I just fucking feel better. Like, I look in the mirror and I'm like, yeah, I'd smooch that. You know what I mean? Like,
I look at your Twitch and I think, I'll smooch that.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, that's part of it. And, it's a big thing. It's like, like for most, people like, oh, it's not about being attractive. It's about what's inside. And that's very true.
People say.
However, first reactions are always physical. Like, I'm married, so I don't know if I don't really give a shit who thinks I'm attractive or not, because I'm pretty sure my wife doesn't, so that's fine. But it's just something that it's always that.
Can we have sex, please? Ugh, fine.
And as you said, like,
just don't look at me during. Sorry. Sorry. Go on.
Man, it's just something that you don't like. You just, yeah. So it's cool to have that, like, moment. Yeah, because like an example is like, I feel more respected now, especially in my workplace, and I think that comes from, I think when people see the drive and the ambition and the achievement, because it's not easy losing weight. It's much easier to get fat. You know what I mean? So I think other people will look at you and be like, "Fuck yeah, man! Like, that guy's got drive. He's got, And I think I feel that I'm more respected."
Well, that in itself is sexy to a lot of women, and like,
once again, not my wife, but that's fine.
No, but like, I mean, I
give my wife so much shit. I don't know why.
Because she married you. It's too late. She's stuck.
Yeah, it's like we have a kid, and like, we are legally bound together.
That's an 18-year contract, and she signed on to that like a bad car dealership. But look, I mean, when it comes to it, right? Physical attractiveness, and I've had a lot of conversations with other females out there in the world, but they say that a lot of it has to be with how you carry yourself. And if you're morbidly obese, hating yourself in every way, shape and form, you're not standing up straight. You've immediately got your head down. You're slouched over because you don't want to pump out those man boobs. You're not earning confidence. You're not displaying that alpha sort of male testosterone filled chunk of meat that women want. You're just some fat beta who's probably just going to sweat his way off the seat. It's just but once you get that confidence about you, you know, and Ange just said to me several times, you've changed the way that you walk, you stand, you're upright more, you know, and as well as, you know, when you do lose weight, certain things appear to be bigger in comparison, you know, so that is also a massive confidence boost. At least it has been for me.
But no, like if you go back and watch your first videos to now, like you can see that, like you can see it in your face. There is a fear in your face, just in general, you know what I mean? And then like like your slouch, like even the photos that you've got, like, you know, when you're doing your naked, you're naked, you're in your, not naked, when you're in your pajama shorts, the naked one's special.
We said not to discuss those photos, Ryan.
I mean, like the pajama shorts one, you know, like you can see that you're trying to stand tall. But you can see that it's not genuine. Where now, when you're just like, hey, look at me, I'm fucking all thin and shit. You know what I mean? It's like,
no more titties.
It's mad.
No more titties.
You know, like, yeah, how you present yourself completely changes. It's a big part of it.
Exactly right. What is John with another ripper? Let's take a look here. It says, people begging Ash to have sex. Ash, fine.
Nah. So fine, but I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, just I'll lay there. You just do the work. John also said, I literally always thought I was the ugly one until one day at the beach we're having conversation about insecurities, and every one of my friends said I was good looking. Ah, isn't that sweet? That's nice. I have no point of reference. Like, I don't know what your friends look like.
No, I got nothing. I presume that's lovely.
Are you friends with Claudia Schiffer? But yeah.
Who the hell thinks of Claudia Schiffer anymore?
I don't know. It's just a name that popped into my head. Like, I mean,
it's like, hey, what about Michelle Pfeiffer? Yeah.
She was too old for me, like when I was a kid, like, when I was a teenager. But yeah. Oh, Peter G's in the house, and I want to give a massive shout out to Peter G, because he became a Fat Guy Army member. I don't think it was on a live stream, so I didn't see it happen. And I apologize, Peter, because I didn't credit you on the end of my vlog videos because I didn't realize it. And I was just looking at some comments earlier before the stream, and I saw you become a member. So thank you very much. Welcome. I'll give you.
Tannins goes, yeah, the weight loss has led me to standing up straight, wearing better clothes, and just power walking everywhere instead of power dying while walking. Power dying.
I die, you know.
Just lie down.
Yeah. That's the best thing. Like, okay, I guess, like, I mean, with being fat as well, because every movie, like every Kevin James movie, paints it as like, you know, the fat guy is the clumsy goofball, like, and that's and that's the, like, the tier that I would always get stuck with, you know, like, and it always, like, you know, like, I'm pretty out there with some of the stuff that I say, like, in terms of my humor and that, I'm pretty weird, like, but like, I was always like in groups of friends and those kinds of situations, you know, it would kind of be like, you know, I would be the end of the stick for all the kind of jokes because, like, I was the most overweight and all that kind of stuff. And even though, like, you know, I would sometimes, you know, beat them to a punch with like some self-deprecating humor, I find that, you know, since losing this weight in those situations, it has become less inclined that they will, like, the butt end of the joke will end with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, does that make any kind of sense? Am I rambling there?
No, you're spot on. You know, yeah, like, you just become like, less of that sort of target, I guess. But you're spot on though, because that's another thing that I remember discussing with someone, probably prior to my journey and stuff. It's about the idea of we as larger dudes, like, we, in terms of movies, we don't have really a good representation. That makes sense.
No.
Like, you're never going to see the fat dude be the hero of a movie. You're never, like, they're always the side guy. You know what I mean? Like, it might be comedically timed. Like, there might be, like, always the funny fat dude, but, like, you're never going to be the star.
Hell, even one of them was called Fat Bastard.
Like, oh, you watch a movie like, oh god, my god, I relate to that movie so hard. Like, no, it doesn't tend to happen.
No. But like, yeah, movies like Austin Powers, like, yeah, the character Fat Bastard. Like, I mean, he was literally just a fat bastard. Yeah, and I get that was this, it was a satire of everything, but yeah, they painted overweight people in a really kind of fashion there. And like, I'm not all sort of like social justice warriors, like they're representing fat people the wrong way. I'm just like, no, but that's just how it is. Like, all the way going back to Abbott and Costello, like it's just like always the fat guy was the clumsy one. And Larry Curly Moe, Curly was the dumbest of the lot, arguably the dumber one. Like out of all three, he was like the one that would fall down the most and all that kind of shit. So yeah, so I think that's just how it is. Jack Black was a hero.
Yeah, and like, I'm in the same boat as you. It's not a situation of like, we need more hit. We need a fucking superhero movie with a fat dude as the guy.
Yeah,
you don't need that. I mean, it's like compared to like other, other real minorities, like who have a much harder time when it comes to representation. But like Peter G's like Jack Black is the hero exception. No, he's not. Like he is, but he isn't. He's still the funny fat guy. Like he still hits those same stereotypical beats. Yeah, I mean, there's no big romantic drama with a fat dude as the lead.
Yeah, think about it. Like, I mean, could you substitute Captain America, like Chris Evans, with an overweight guy? Yeah.
Could you do The Notebook?
There you go.
With
Chris
Ryan
Hemsworth
Benson instead of Ryan Gosling.
No, I would pay not to see it.
Because I'm not a very good actor.
Yeah,
but that's the point. I mean, like, if you is The Notebook still as a quote unquote powerful movie, with Jack Black in it?
But yeah,
in terms of that romanticness.
Chris Hemsworth, and I was just getting to a PG. Fat Thor. As soon as Thor turned fat, he turned into a punchline, didn't he?
Yes, even though that movie has an incredibly powerful idea of you can look a number of different ways, but you can still be worthy. That is fantastic. But the build up to that moment is just shitting on him, and that's not cool. But that bring home message of you can be whatever you can have literal fucking mental health problems and mental health troubles and challenges, which he did in that film, but you are still worthy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. Up until that point, it was like, oh.
When Chris Evans picked up that hammer,
because no one was willing to address that he was clearly fucking depressed and drinking and eating himself as a form of self-soothing. Like no one was willing to address that, but instead they'll make fun of him and like say that he's like full of cream cheese or whatever the fuck the joke was. But no one's willing to address that there's a reason that he's doing this. I think you can't go from that to this without some sort of
Well, Banner picked up on it, obviously, but Rocket was more inclined to make jokes in that. And
but then again, Rocket Raccoon is a character. His coping mechanism is humor,
being a dick.
Like they specify that, I think, early on. Like they talk about how he was tortured and all that sort of stuff.
It was more in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I think that they kind of got into his character of being just a dick.
Like him being an asshole is his coping.
Exactly right. John says the thing that would probably make the main characters better by having them fat from the start. The whole character is part of them. And the whole part of the character of them is getting fitter. Makes them more relatable than that. Look, I don't want to be like preaching here. I don't think that's what Ryan and I are trying to say. Is that Hollywood needs more fat heroes? No. It's just that. What we're talking about is how society, like when you lose weight, how differently they treat you from when you were grossly overweight, and that's what we're trying to get at. Is that I have noticed a major change in how people treat me since I've lost 51 and a bit kilos. So, yeah, it is unfortunate.
I have thought of an example though that's probably a better representation. Excuse me, if I like a better word, is The New Girl. Have you ever watched The New Girl?
No.
One of the characters, Schmidt, like in his, like there's a moment like where he, like the character's an asshole. He's a vain asshole, but he come to learn that like he was quite large growing up. So when he lost the weight, he thought he had to become this person. So like the idea of like, you're actually a better person when you were larger because you were nicer and you were more caring and you were more supportive. And like, it's probably a kind of a positive role model. And then as he, as the series progresses, he kind of learn that he needs to not, like he can still be fat, lovable person, but in a healthier body.
Yeah. There you go. I got to see it. New Girl, you said.
And Zoe Deschanel in it, who's also
maybe I have seen it. I always thought that you would find Zoe Deschanel as like a babe, like, because it just is that kind of quirky, gothy, kind of alternate, kind of, you know, I thought that's right up Ryan's alley. New Girl, who's in it?
Zoe Deschanel, Megan Fox was in it for a couple of seasons because Zoe was off doing something else.
Elizabeth Merriweather. No,
a bunch of newer faces. Like, they'll do stuff now, but at the time they were relatively new, apart from Zoe Deschanel.
Ah, well, think about this. What about Superbad? With
oh man, if you want a fucking funny story, like Superbad is a movie I connected to when I was younger. I looked at those two characters and I was like, I am both those characters. I am both Michael Cera and Jonah Hill in one person. Like I have the like really internally I'm that insecure sort of like shy sort of character that is Michael Cera, but like externally I push out this image of like a larger dude, funny, the hitting all the beats, sort of, it was like watching myself be divided into two people and just watch myself.
She wants to fuck me. She wants my dick in or around her mouth. Like, honestly, like one of the greatest movies. I love that. I love that movie so much.
That movie is fantastic.
Marvel or DC? Choose Marvel, hands down.
DC every time.
You look like a DC guy.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
I'm a mix of both. I do love DC. I like there's something about DC. I love it because it tends to be a bit more real, a bit more gritty, and I guess my emo roots kind of really love that angst. But I do love the sort of groundedness that Marvel can present. Like right now, I'm painting Marvel miniatures because it's a lot of fun for me. Peter, does Jonah Hill get treated better now? He's not so big. He did, and then he didn't. Like, it was a weird situation. It's like, one person I've really fallen into, Ethan Suplee. You guys probably know him as the guy from My Name Is.
Hello. I think I've lost you, Ryan. Just hold on a second, guys. I think our Skype is just having a bit of a freak out.
There we go, back.
Oh, he's back.
That's all good. All right. So sorry. So Ethan Suplee, so it was really big dude and like forever, and then he lost a bunch of weight, and now he looks jacked and looks fantastic. So for him, he was talking about how he had kind of got cast as this particular person, this particular role. So he lost a bunch of weight and then wasn't getting work. So then he actively made the decision to get big again.
It's terrible, isn't it?
He had to make that choice. He was like, fuck.
That's a terrible situation to be in. It's like, because like Jonah Hill, he lost a whole bunch of weights, but then and he had just every interview was about his weight loss, and people would forget the fact that he's done a movie. And he used to get so pissed off about it, because I've watched a lot of like those interviews that you have like promoting a movie with Jonah Hill.
Around 21 Drum Street mostly. And then Channing Tatum was even there being like, what the fuck? Shout out to Channing Tatum. He's such a cool dude.
That's Ethan Suplee there. You'll most likely know him from My Name Is Earl.
He's in Mallrats as well, and he was in Wolf of Wall Street, but he was a bit more jacked in that one. And but look at him now, holy fuck!
Yeah, he's certainly done a lot. Like before the one that's the one on your left, that's taken from My Name Is Earl.
That's not even him and his biggest, by the way.
He was massive. If you've seen what was it? Like Chasing Amy. He did a small cameo in that. Small Rat.
Yeah,
he was in Chasing Amy, wasn't he?
Where?
He was in Mallrats. No, I think he was one of the super fans. He came up and was like,
oh yeah, he did. He's the,
yeah. So Yeah,
My
he.
apologies.
I'll get rid of that now. But yeah, but Jonah Hill, he would like legitimately get pissed off at these interviewers because they're always asking him, so like, you know, are you no longer seen like? Do you think you got hired for this role because you're, you know, so overweight or so fat or something? They asked some really insensitive question when he was like really big, and he just like lost it at him. And it's just like, that's the unfortunate thing about Hollywood. But, you know, relating it to everyday life is that it's true. People treat you differently when you are thin or when you are fat. I'm not saying I'm thin. I'm just saying they
yeah. But as an example, like, you know, we're talking about Kevin Smith movies there. Kevin Smith himself is someone that's lost a ton of weight. Like, granted, he had a heart attack, so kind of, and then he made that, he's someone that's always been a bigger dude, and then now he's made that after his heart attack, he went the whole vegan lifestyle, and he looks fantastic now.
Did you see the reboot?
I did. Yeah, I love James. I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. Yeah. He's a massive inspiration to me in a number of different ways.
Clerks 2 was the most funny, like Clerks 2, one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. Like, I just died like in a lot of scenes. I like seeing that movie. Jane Silent Bob, I memorized that entire movie. Like, it's just, love those movies so much.
I love
Dogma.
I love Kevin. Like, Clerks 2 is my favorite of that he's done, closely followed by Jane Silent Bob Strike Back. Chasing Amy, I love. In terms of his view askew movies, yeah, I'm a big fan, huge fan. Like, if you walk down my hallway here outside my room, like the walls are lined with signed movie posters.
I've walked down that hallway before, but I've usually been, you know, it's usually been dark and I've been naked.
Yeah, so I understand why you wouldn't have seen the posters, but so there's a Clerks, there's a Strike Back, there's a Mallrats. It's all signed posters on the wall. There's a Clerks 2 one in the lounge room.
Chris Farley, mate. I've got a special place in my heart for Chris Farley. It's such a sad story, like Chris Farley, because like he grew up like super depressed, and he was constantly dealing with these issues of addiction when it comes to drugs and food and all that kind of stuff. And in his later years, like right before he died, after he did like was it Kung Fu Ninja or whatever it is, Beverly Hills Ninja.
Beverly Hills Ninja.
You can see in like an interview with Leno, you could just see that he was so unhealthy, like in every sense of the word. He's sitting down on the couch, like pouring with sweat. He was like, just like, he could barely concentrate on what Leno was saying. He was like, you know, he was high at the time. And he, you know, had to do a fall, you know, to get laughs. Like, it was the fall guy. He was like the definition of the fall guy. And then, yeah, he died of an overdose. And and
then Kevin James sort of become his replacement with the Adam Sandler's little crew. Yeah. Peter G. Kevin Smith did a wild movie called Red State. Red State's fantastic. That's the third in my Kevin Smith favorite films. That's my top three. The movie's fantastic.
Every interview that you hear with like, you know, Chris Farley's friends and associates and all that, Adam Sandler and the whole crew, when they talk about Chris Farley, they reference him as being like, you know, like the sun itself. Like, he walks into a room and he just illuminates the entire room, and his energy is beyond next to none. But it was just so sad that the fact that behind all this persona of like confidence and laughter and, you know, happiness, he was a deeply troubled and man who just suffered from horrible kinds of addiction and self-worth issues, and that's led to his untimely demise. You know, so yeah, I got a lot of space in my heart for Chris Farley. Tommy Boy, fantastic. You know, yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, I have a similar space for like Robin Williams, someone else that sort of had a bit of a struggle mentally, even though they'd someone that has brightened the world. You know, you sort of battle that shit. So yeah.
John, catch you later, mate.
Thank you, John. You've been on fire tonight. It was awesome.
Yeah, very funny. Aisha says Goonies. What's his name from Goonies? What was his name? The fat kid in Goonie. Different as an adult. What's his name? Oh, he played Thanos. And the guy in Deadpool. He's the Brolin. Josh Brolin. He wasn't he the fat kid in Goonies, and then he isn't it? Okay, I'm looking that up. Fat kid in Goonies. I'm pretty
Jeff B. Cohen, aka Chunk from the Goonies.
Oh, who
I'm
was
like, that ain't. I'm like, that's not Josh Brolin.
Who was Josh Brolin then? Like, he was in like one of those movies where he was like, let me take a look here. Let's look up his IMDb here. I'm looking this up on live. Live. Here we go. What was he? He was in one of those movies where. He was in the Goonies. Josh Brolin.
Yeah, it was the older brother apparently. I don't remember the Goonies all that well. I'm like, but he's not the fat kid. Yeah.
Okay. 100%. Transparency here. Haven't seen the Goonies.
I think I saw it like 1,000 years ago. It's certainly not a in my recent memory movie.
That's nothing that I'm really dying to see, mind you. But yeah, guys, does anyone else have any other questions or anything like that for us? Because I think we might just start wrapping it up.
Hey, holy shit, nearly hit like 2 hours. Fuck.
Really? Holy shit! Nearly has been. I think it's been a little bit over an hour. I'm like, oh wow, there you go. But does anyone have any other questions or anything they want to discuss before we call it a night? Big Papa BETSON was so kind to come on. I literally sent him like a message like 20 minutes before the stream. I'm just like, hey dude, are you bored? You wanna do some live stream? And it's like, yeah, PlayStation's dead.
Seeing as my PS5's fucked, I might as well do something.
Trent Morefoot says, "Hey Ash, just before you head off online, just want to say you're an inspiration. You're my inspiration for a better body and healthier life. See my kids grow up in better health." Oh well, thank you so much. Just really appreciate it, Trent. Like this is a happy byproduct of having this channel. Is that like I didn't think that anyone was going to watch. To be completely honest, like when I first started my channel, like. When you start a YouTube channel, and maybe Ryan, you can understand where I'm coming from, is that when you start a YouTube channel, you have nothing, 0 subscribers. You're literally like making a video for no audience, and it's much different to Facebook. When you first join Facebook, it kind of links to your email and says, hey, you should add all these people that you actually know, but YouTube doesn't have that. So you make this video. And the best way I can liken it is that you're standing in like a lit doorway staring into a dark room with no end, and you just start yelling into the room, and then suddenly these little like things start popping up, and they're people, and it like to be where I am today, honestly can't believe it. It's been you guys, Trent, people like yourself, those kinds of messages that you send me that help me keep going on my journey. So I thank you, and you guys are my inspiration, as corny as it sounds, as sappy as it sounds, but you guys are. You inspire me to keep going. So you guys are my inspiration. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like Ash knows this. Like my journey started through Ash's channel as well. Like I was looking to get into the man shake, and I stumbled across the channel, and I started getting pretty active in here and chatting and talking, and and that sort of got me to where I am now. Nearly 30 kilos gone. I'm now alongside Ash, an ambassador for the man shake. It's like, who the fuck thought that would happen? I didn't.
Very recognizable hat you got there, mate. And very recognizable style you got rocking.
I'm even wearing it backwards so we can twinsies,
Yeah. Wasn't planned. There you go. Oh, but if you ladies and gentlemen, if you want to win one of these hats, you can spin that wheel up there every Monday night.
Spin that bitch.
Spin that bitch, and if you roll a green, you'll get a hat and a stubby cooler. But Ryan, have you got anything that you want to spruik for your channels, or this kind of stuff coming for the week?
The coming week. So, obviously my PlayStation's out, but there is an episode of my PlayStation podcast. It's called For the Players. It comes out tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. Fuck, I need to finish editing that bad boy.
Oops.
That's right. And then on Wednesday, I'll have a new episode of The Young and the Wrestlers. That's my wrestling podcast. We'll be reviewing the Survivor Series pay-per-view, which airs tomorrow night. So we'll be recording that live on Twitch on Tuesday night, with it going up on Wednesday morning on the YouTubes and podcast services. Other than that, not a whole bunch. Probably stream maybe later in the week, but obviously not my PS5. Follow me on Twitter. That's at HaggardMC. That's HAGGARDMC. You can hear me talk about my weight loss and wrestling and video games, and you can follow my PS5 woes.
Well, there you go. So for me, guys, this week, back to the normal schedule. Weigh-in Wednesdays are back. So see how we go this week. I don't know what to expect this week. I've been good, but I just feel like I haven't been working hard enough. It's always the case for me. Tomorrow night we got Man Talk. That is at 8:30 p.m. On Australian Daylight Savings Time. So check that out on the Man Shake Facebook page. We give away stuff and talk about all things weight loss. And then the weekend. It's Angela's birthday on Friday. So super happy birthday to my lovely missus. Hello, I see you there waving at me. Yes, I'll be there soon, okay? Just hold on. Put that back on. Come on. Jesus, she's just throwing herself at me. It's 50 kilos weight loss. That's what happens. But I'm just joking. She is there, but she's like shaking her head at me.
I'm joking.
You're flipping me off. Yeah, is that how it is? Oh, Jesus. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here tonight. You guys are absolutely amazing. Without you guys, this wouldn't be a channel here. Ryan, thank you so much for being with us. And I love every single one of you. There's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. Bye, guys.